And we're back in the office. Enough of this traveling around. Fix myself up. Boom. Welcome everybody. Maté talk time. Good to be here. Back in the office. No, not. It's not. It's better to be traveling, but it's all good because I always say when something starts, therefore something has to end. It's just logical. But it actually is good to be back in the office and start the process of all the research and stuff that I did in Italy, and also about to roll out the new tour and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of things, exciting things up ahead in the future, and some really good concepts that we're working on right now, which we'll begin to deliver out to everybody. Now today's Maté Talk is going to be a little bit shorter. I only got back to Australia about 3 days ago. A little bit jet lag still. I was up very early this morning. I was in the office about 5 a.m. Couldn't sleep anymore. I'm like, all right, let's just go to the office and do work. So I am going to try to keep it short, but I still want to give you some exciting things when it comes to new fragrances that I discovered in Esxence, and in particular a new brand that I came across, but I'll tell you a little bit more. Firstly, headlines at the end of this video. We will be talking more community things. The 3 points that I'd like to share is one, the one-day tour that we did in Milan. I'll give you an update on that. The 9-day tour that's coming up in September, some exciting things to announce. And lastly, there is a promo still running. I'll tell you more, but promo is still running. Everybody, or 3 people have a chance to win. Everybody has a chance. No, 3 people have a chance to win some MILAN aromatic goodies at the end of this video. Now, I mentioned that I was in Italy and just got back. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose and I need to calm down. Let's just calm down a little bit. Have a look at this. These are the 2 episodes that I released in the last couple of weeks while I was in Italy, traveling Maté Talks. One of them was, if you want to know what Esxence is about, that first episode was all about a breakdown. It was almost like a blow by blow as we went through the day and give you an insight as to all that happens. A lot of research goes into me going over to visit the brands. I do a lot of research when it comes to finding new brands, things like that. And also then the conversations that I have with brands just to create content that's gonna be exciting for the channel and exciting for you guys to enjoy. So now 2 fragrances that I want to put on your radar. One is a brand new release. The other one is something that is brand new to me. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that, Pantheon. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in time. But first, let's talk about the new release from KAJAL. This is Ruby. Now, for those who are familiar with the channel, you know that I'm a big fanboy of all things KAJAL. I've done a discovery series on the brand. I've done multiple episodes, both interviewing Mo and also doing a big lineup in the Oillataguerre store. So this is a brand that I fell in love with years ago. I like the way that they create. I like the way that they express themselves when it comes to perfumery. I also resonate with Mo, who is the founder and owner of the business. I think he's an awesome man he's just a really genuine soul, and it's always a pleasure to be in his company. Last week, if you look at that episode that I released 2 weeks ago, you'll see my first response when it comes to Ruby, and you see the way my eyes light up, and it ticks all the things that I love in perfumery. It ticks all my boxes in that regard. While I was in Italy, I did have a chance to wear it in cooler weather, and for me, this is glorious as a cooler weather. It also could work, it also works really well in spring and autumn, not in high heat, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But in Italy, this baby is sensational. Its sillage is incredible. Cool weather, it is glorious on skin. It lasts forever. Even in hot weather, it lasts forever. And again, I'll tell you more about that. As a quick summary, what's the fragrance about and will it resonate with you? If you love fragrances that have a fruity touch to it and then dry down, ambery and warm on skin, this baby is magic. In particular here, the fruity tones that it accentuates is a berry touch. On first spray, and again in that video, you'll see me, as I smell it, what I smelled very clearly in that opening was this beautiful red berry touch to it. And I couldn't really define it between a raspberry or blueberry. Just, it was succulent, it was berry-like. with the cherry, and I guess inception also the fact that it was red, then there's this cherry note sort of lingering in the background. I've since discovered that there is also pineapple, coconut, and almond. At the time, I didn't detect those particular notes, but now, and just before I started to roll camera, I did spray. And knowing now that there's pineapple, coconut, and almond, I actually get those facets. So yes, the berry touch is there, but I'm also detecting those other pieces also coming through and becoming very apparent. The beauty, in my opinion, the beauty of the fragrance, okay, so yes, glorious on the opening. The magic for me is its migration and then dry down. I do like that it has very clear, and this is what I also love in the niche perfumery, these very clear evolutions and moments in time when it comes to the fragrance as it begins to sort of evolve from that opening all the way down into that dry down. I discovered also that there is in the heart two notes which are intriguing. One is whipped cream, and it's actually listed as whipped cream, and the other one is ice cream. Now, it's obvious, these are not, you know, extracted from nature. These are fantasy notes or constructed accords, but the definition is perfect because what I do get from the fragrance is a beautiful, luxurious, velvety, creamy touch to it. Not lactose, so there's no milkiness in it, but more think of a very luxurious vanilla ice cream. And I'm talking that velvety, creamy, as you enjoy that, there's that sort of smoothness in the mouthfeel. That's what this fragrance does as it begins to dry down. It doesn't necessarily, and I believe that there is a musk and I know that there's vanilla in the base and tonka bean and things of that nature. But it doesn't dry down musky in any way. It remains velvety and smooth. Again, think of like a bolt of velvet, you know, that beautiful, and actually for some reason in my brain, instantly I thought purple, this purple sort of malleable, soft, caressing velvet. This is what the fragrance sort of dries down to. As I mentioned, as a cooler weather fragrance, bada bing, just glorious, just beautiful to wear. The way it stayed on my skin, I always do only 3 sprays, and the way that it would stay throughout the day, its sillage and projection is phenomenal. Now, being back in Melbourne, so that was in Italy, being back in Melbourne, the weather is very warm. We're having a sort of a delayed or a lengthened summer. Yesterday was quite warm. I was wearing, in preparation for today, I wanted to see how it would wear in warmer weather. I was wearing Ruby, and it's, in this hot weather, it's a little bit heavier. So for me, I did find it in I guess the main part of the day, a little bit heavy on skin. I did only spray twice yesterday because I knew that I had a feeling that this wasn't gonna really stick with me as well, or be something that I wanted something a bit lighter is what I'm saying. So something a bit more, you know, citrusy and things like that. However, of an evening, it stayed on my skin, and I found that it was perfect, that warm air, the evening was perfect for, the fragrance was perfect on my skin over that evening. Oh my gosh. Let me take a small drink. Did I say that I had jet lag? A million thoughts running through my brain because I actually went to see my daughter, and I picked up my grandson. I'm telling you way too much, but this is what happened. And we went to get ice cream, and I could smell the fragrance on me, and I was thinking, I get the ice cream feel, the sort of the fragrance. Anyway, one thing that did happen last night as I was sleeping is that I was dreaming that I was in Rome. Now you're wondering, where am I going with this? I was dreaming I was in Rome, and I was smelling beautiful fragrances. And last night I remember waking up, and I had my head down like this, and I'm like, what am I doing? Because, you know, it takes a little bit for, I guess, the brain to switch back into action. And then I'm like, oh, I'm smelling Ruby. So this happened twice in the night, where in my dream I was in a perfume store in Rome, and I'd wake up only to discover that I'm actually smelling my own, my own chest. I had sprayed it on my chest. So it gives you an idea. One, it's longevity. So 20 hours, 24 hours without a problem, even in high heat. but it also just like I said before, the magic of this fragrance is that dry down. You're still getting a little bit of that berry and those earlier fruit notes that are in there. It doesn't become very overtly fruity or girly-like or sort of, you know, like a teenage girl kind of fragrance. And I say that because my niece, who is a teenage girl, loves to wear fruity fragrances, and they're really like just over the top and exaggerated. Whereas here, you're getting a very decadent, very just beautiful, creamy, fruity touch as it dries down. As I said, that whipped cream, ice cream note, along with the amber and everything else, just sits on skin, just so divine. Awesome new release. I did compare it, awesome new release by KAJAL, and a big recommendation. I know it's in store because when I was in throughout Italy, I walked into Zor, one of the boutiques there, and they had it on shelf. So something that is already out and available to test out and check out. I did think of Esxence because this was a big, for me, this was an incredible release last year. Massive, massive recommendation. I kept promoting this one. And I thought, what's the difference between the two? Knowing that, yes, that this one also has the pineapple and passion fruit and stuff like that. How do they differ between the two? I sprayed them. Okay, 1 second, I'm sweating, it's hot here. So this is now about 45 minutes into the fragrance. And they're two different things. So if you have Esxence, Ruby is something that is comfortably, if you're interested, if you like that sort of the more berry touch, it's an easy fragrance to own. You can have one of each without a problem. I find that Esxence can be, so in this warmer weather, Esxence can be something that you can wear in more warmer weather. Yes, it works fantastic as a winter fragrance, but as a warm weather fragrance, no problems at all. And I think it's that very tart passion fruit blended in with that pineapple. The pineapple, you get more of a tardy greenness to it rather than the sort of the more overripe element of it. I find that Esxence, as it dries down, it does go more into that patchouli note, the woodiness of it, which I adore. And now Ruby, and it is decadent. So because, and it could be Inception, that coconut and almond piece to it, so that milkiness from both of those particular notes, or that whenever I, like a milky coconut, a milky almond sort of fragrance note in a fragrance, perfume note in a fragrance. I'm doing a really good job today. Gorgeous. And again, that velvety, whipped cream, ice cream sort of touch. Bing, bada, boom, amazing. Ruby, KAJAL. I was gonna say these guys can't do anything wrong, but I don't want to jinx them because honestly, those guys, they do an awesome job with their fragrances. I also know, I had a chance, and again, if you watch that very first video, I love what Natalie said, and I totally believe this. They put a lot of love and heart into what they do. Of course, like everything, it's a business, and you got to generate value, and you want to, you know, create profits, blah blah blah. But I feel like their heart is really in what they're doing, and that they want to make sure that they're always adhering to a high level or something that will excite, obviously them, but also excite us as perfume lovers. Big recommendation, and I would put it on your radar to test out. Now, another one that, and I did mention in an earlier Maté talk, but being this one here, where I was doing quite a bit of testing on all things Pantheon. I mentioned that Pantheon is a brand that I was aware of, but I didn't really jump in because whenever I'd go to Italy, I got distracted by a million other things. So anyway, before leaving, knowing that I was going to be there on this trip, I did a lot of testing. And in one that I really enjoyed in my testing phase was Nerone. Nerone, let's say it like the Italians. This is incredible. I know it's not a new release, but I want to put it on your radar. This is comfortably all year round fragrance. It's stinking hot today. I didn't turn the aircon on because I didn't want that sort of noise in the background, but I am sweating. I'm wearing this today, all right? So it's on my body, and I can smell this fragrance just popping. Things that I love about it. Now, interestingly, okay, finish your sentences. I'll do what I want. It's my channel. No, I will. I'm working on finishing my sentences. The one thing that I love is that the notes that are depicted isn't what I am detecting. And I love it when that happens. When I look at it and I'm like, what? And there's no way that I'm detecting these particular elements of it. I actually detect something completely different. And the reason why I want to address that as a point, because here, once I discovered that there was pineapple, coconut, and almond, I'm like, oh yeah, I can smell that pineapple, coconut, almond, along with the berry piece. Whereas here, on that opening, there is coconut, there's saffron, and there's raspberry. I don't get any of that stuff. Instead, I get this burnt sugar, almost caramelized, smoky sensation. And the best way that I can explain is when I used to go camping as a kid, would have a campfire, would grab handfuls of sugar. Don't tell my mother. We'd grab handfuls of sugar and we would throw it onto the fire. Now, my mother would be like, yo, what happened to the sugar? I don't know. The possums ate it. What would happen is that when you throw it onto the fire, it created this sort of like spark sensation, this, it was awesome to watch. But more importantly, it created this beautiful caramelized sugar and smoky sensation. I used to love doing it, honestly. And if I could have thrown all sugar onto the fireplace as a kid, that's what I would be doing. So for me, on opening, I get this glorious, smoky, burnt sugar sensation to the fragrance. It's instantly alluring for me. And when I was testing, this is what I was getting. And since again, this is another one that I was wearing in Rome, wearing it today. So in Rome, as I was saying, cool, cold weather worked a treat, glorious on skin. In hot weather. And I was worried about wearing it today only because I just wondered if it was gonna, like blow my brain. It's gorgeous. The one thing that is in here, so for those people who love oud, I'd recommend it to you. For those people who are new to oud, I'd recommend this to you. So this is an easy fragrance for both parties to enjoy the glorious note of oud in their fragrance. It's not done in a fecal way, so it's not this really strong barnyard sort of piece to the fragrance. It does have a very distinct oud touch, but then there's all these other notes that support it, things like, and one of them in particular is passion fruit. So there is a passion fruit note which emerges, for me at least, deeper into the actual evolution of the fragrance. It doesn't present itself so quickly for me, as I mentioned. It does have that beautiful caramelized, sugary touch. Then the caramelized sugary touch along with the oud. So I think that's where I'm getting that smoky sensation. So oud presents itself very quickly in the fragrance for me, and it stays throughout the fragrance as it evolves through. It does come into that fruity tart, passion fruit note coming through in the fragrance. There are other notes. Did I write them down? Boom. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't say that it has patchouli in it, but I do get this beautiful, musty, woody scent profile to it. And I'm gonna say it's also that oud playing its part. Give me 1 second, I'll just have a little bit of a... So I do get, it's gorgeous. Honestly, everybody, Nerone, bada bing, please, I need you to please go out and test it. As I said, I was testing before buying the bottle. And it is fantastic. It's such a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. If you're not, and I've already mentioned, if you're new to oud, I'd recommend this to you. I think it's an awesome one to put on your radar. And I'm gonna be telling you more about all things Pantheon, because let's just say that I went from 0 to 100. So I dived head first. There's a number of fragrances that I collected or picked up when I was in Rome, so I look forward to sharing that with you. But that one there, if you want to start with something, I really recommend it to you guys. Now, while I was in Esxence, I had a number of meetings with a number of different brands, and I really want to put the intention was I wanted to find something new and different, and I didn't want to be restricted by the fact that are they found in Australia. So I did a lot of hunting. There's a lot of testing that's about to come up. I was able to meet a number of brands, and I dropped the thing, sorry about that. They gave me different samples and whatnot. One that I want to put on your, and so I'm going to share more. So in the coming weeks, I'll share more of things that I'm testing that I want to put on your radar, and things that I'm actually testing for myself to include as part of my collection so that I can share more. Now, one that I was really impressed with, and doing my research in advance, and I was impressed with their look and their feel, and then had an opportunity to meet the actual brand owner and the stand and everything else. The brand is called Min New York. I think it is pronounced Min, even though it's capital M, small I, capital N. It's a very unique looking brand. This one here, just from the word go, it looked a little bit different. Then I had a meeting with the actual brand owner, as I mentioned, and the brand is a different expression on perfumery. It's the stuff that I love. So I do love, I love fragrances that come at it from a different angle. However, it has to be wearable. Sometimes there are other brands that are very unique and very avant-garde, but I can't wear it. I'm like, whoa, I just can't wear it. It's not something that resonates with me. I always say perfume is life, meaning that it's about enhancing my experiences. So for me, perfume is about bringing color into my life and not just about an incredible expression of art. Yeah, I can appreciate some stuff can be unique and just like, wow, but I can't wear it. So whereas something like this is really, really impressive, and I want to put it on your radar. For me, testing, the one that I had, the gentleman gave me 4 different samples. All 4 of them resonated with me, so I just first smelled them on strip. The one that I want to talk to you about is called Plush. And on spray on the card, I thought, oh yeah, very doable, no worries. I smelt it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a sort of like a orange blossomy, white floral, jasmine, light touch. Seems to be like a little sweet note of possibly vanilla. So I put it on skin. And I'm like, whoa. So it starts off with a very neroli scent profile to it. A bit of an orange touch to it. Think of a classic neroli fragrance. And so as I said, when I first experienced it, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit different to what I smelt on card, but it's not too far removed. Time went on, and then I'm like, whoa, who is that? And I smelled again. And now I'm getting this kind of soapy, clean, but with a slight sass, musky element coming through. Grace, my editor, came in this morning, and I said to her, have a smell of this. And so she smelled the card, and she's like, oh yeah, that smells nice. It's got like a orange blossom jasmine sort of touch to it. Actually, she said white flower, it has white flower jasmine touch to it. I said, you like it? And she's like, yeah, it's really nice. I said, what do you think of this one then? And she's like, oh, I don't like that one. I'm like, what do you find it different? Oh, she's like, oh, there's a bit of a sass. Anyway, I had a bit of like, I guess I must have had some sort of towel on my face or a slight smile. And she's like, it's the same fragrance, isn't it? And I'm like, it is. So I want to put on your radar, if you want something new, unique, and I'll tell you a little bit more about where this is going, then Min New York. I think these guys are going to be something exciting to explore. This one here, Plush, if you want to sort of try to find where does it fit, think of Sadon Naso, where it has that, and without sounding crass, so Sadon Naso has that sort of musky sex, element to it. I find that this is something a little bit similar. The difference is it's not as dirty. I know that Sadon Naso can have a bit of that. There's a note in there which is like a cat pee note that people really like. Some people smell it, some people don't. I don't get the cat pee. All I get is more of a talcum powder, sort of very vanilla and musky piece to it. Whereas I find this one here, it has the jasmine orange blossom stays in the fragrance, but as it dries down, it does go into this musk and also ambergris. And I think that musk ambergris gives it this very dirty, sort of sassy feel to it. best way to describe it, if you can visualize this, it's checking in a 5-star hotel. It is during the day, and there's a lot of funness happening in that room with you and a friend. It does have that sort of clean, you're in a clean place. You're in a place where, you know, the sheets are white and there is a sort of a cleanness to it, but you're soiling it. You're getting up to no good. It does, so there is that balance between all that stuff. Again, the imagery on this is, so if I open this up so you guys can see, it does have this sort of like a shag, like a what do you call it? Think of it like a woolen carpet mat thing, like a shag, and the word is plush. So my gut says that I think it's aligned to that kind of feel to the fragrance. Pretty exciting when it comes to its evolution and the way that the fragrance sort of presents itself. I do want to, I'll test it out a bit more, because all I did was spray it on arm. I sprayed it on arm this morning. I showered and all the rest of it, and I re-sprayed it again on this arm. So I don't know when it comes to longevity and performance and all those pieces, but what I did love about it is the way that it evolved and moved, and the complexity of the fragrance was a lot of fun to wear. Not a standard fragrance, so I'm going to put this in the same sort of category as your Orto Parisi, Nasomatos, you know, fragrances that are a bit more expressive, but wearable. And that's, for me, the most important thing, because I just want to enjoy it for myself, and also if I want to, you know, have a fragrance that speaks for me, that also is enjoyable to those people around me. But I will explore more. So here's some other samples from these guys. I'll find out how I can get my hands on some of these fragrances, because I think that there's something exciting there. Boom, put it on your radar. All right, that's it. Bada bing. If you were here for the review and you enjoyed it, what I just shared, I'd love you to subscribe. It's a great support to myself and also to everyone that is with me here on the channel and the work that we do. If you would like to say goodbye, well, thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm now going to start talking about all things community, a bit more community-based. So if this is not something that you want to stay for, no problems. We'll see you on the next Maté Talk. But if you're still here, let me talk about the announcements that I announced early. But this camera is about to pop, so I'm going to stop and I'll be right back. And back. This is like take 7. I stopped twice. I'm tired, okay? I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm still a bit jet lagged, but anyway, that's my excuses. Community, what's this about? So this is now more connected to things that I love doing on the channel. So yes, I love talking about perfume and I love sharing new things, but I also want to connect with you guys. That's really what I get excited about. Recently in Italy, I was in Milan. We did 2 meetups in the FUEGUIA boutique. I want to thank everybody who took the time, made the effort to come across. Shout out to you, Jason. I appreciate you coming all the way from Leeds and spending some time there. It was a lot of fun for me to be able to now, like, you know, step out of this very one-dimensional conversation of me talking to a camera, and to now be in the same room with you guys and to bounce off and to listen to your experience as I share a fragrance with you. I mean, that's, for me, that's gold. I love doing that. Even to the point, I have no problems you guys going, "Blue, I don't like this one," you know. And there was a few where I'm like, "I love this," and spray and smell. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's okay." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's okay? It's gorgeous." But it's fun. It's fun to share that moment with each of you. So anyway, there'll be more of those things coming up, I promise. One thing that I want to do a bit of a recap on is the one-day tour that we did in Milan. And it was a blend of going to Esxence and then doing some private sessions, in particular with Fragrance Dubois and also L'Absolu. This was a bit of a roll of the dice. So I just want to give you an update as to what happened, because we had 20 people. In the past, we've always had very small groups, between 7 to 10, that we've sort of done these more larger tours, you know, whether it be 6, 8, and now in September it's going to be 9. So we wanted to, Kevin and I wanted to test what would a one-day tour look like, and you know how, you know, what would you guys want to see? the good news is that it was an awesome success. It was such a fun event. Now, if you missed the episode that I did last week, I gave you more of an overview, a breakdown. What it didn't sort of go into, and this is what I want to share, is the camaraderie and friendship that evolved in a heartbeat. Because that morning, and we got there, it was raining. I mean, that threw me. That annoyed, because when you're doing event management, you plan everything, you know, and everything sort of. But some things are out of your control. One of them is weather. And anyway, it wasn't meant to rain, but there we were with umbrellas. People were trying to stay in the shade. We were meant to do we were doing like a masterclass smelling session of the Lab Salute, because everybody was getting a free bottle at the end of the evening, and so they all had to test these fragrances. So it was super frustrating when it was raining, but what do you do? Anyway, the good news is that everybody was in such great spirits, because I was worried. Here we were, 20 people from around the world, the US. So we had people from the US, we had Austria, Norway, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. I don't think, Spain. So, I mean, the UK. So we had people literally from across the entire globe. And it was so cool to, even though we were all strangers when we first met, that by the end of the evening, they had to kick us out of that restaurant. We just did not want to leave. And again, if you saw that video and those photos that Luke, who is my French professor, I appreciate you being there, brother. Swiss, another country that was present. This sense of relax and the conversation, it was incredible. I could not have wished for a better event and a better group of people than that were present at this at this one-day tour. So a massive thank you for those who might be watching that were part of the tour. Just incredible thank you guys. You guys were so awesome. The friendships that I feel evolved from that was phenomenal. The good news is this, that we're going to do more of these, because that was a test. We wanted to see, could we do a one-day sort of event, and could we actually have 20 people? Was it going to get too crazy and too muddled? In fact, it was actually, the only part that was a bit complicated was trying to walk or go through Esxence in the morning with 20 people in amongst so many others. But Kevin and I have already sort of brainstormed some ideas, and we will reboot this concept. We are going to make it a little bit longer. We felt that one day was way too short. I mean, literally, we got to the end and nobody wanted to go. We were all standing outside of the restaurant, freezing our butts off, but nobody wanted to go anywhere. We were all chatting and still connecting. So we've identified that this needs to be over a 2 day. So where we've always done like these bigger tours, 8-9 days, the one day was a test to see, can we do a shorter thing? Short answer is yes. So we will be coming up with something that is now a 2 or a 3 day event, which allows people to now, and I had a great idea from Brendan, shout out to you, my brother, that to do it over a weekend. So start on Friday, and that way more people can participate rather than do it in the middle of the week where it's a little bit harder, you gotta take time away, blah, blah, blah. So bottom line is, for those people who, because we had to cut off, I had some people who reached out to me once we had hit that 20, saying that they would like to join. We had to stop. We had to say, I'm sorry, you can't be a part of it. So we will do it again. 20, I think, is the right number for that sort of experience. But no, we're going to extend it. So, and anyway, I'll tell you more. There's more coming, I promise. This is something that we really feel is going to be, is exciting for us to be together and share. Now, for those who would like to really slow down the pace, there is the 9-day tour, which is happening in September. This is going to be off the chart. So the reason why we were in Italy, one was to obviously do Esxence, the other was to do the Milan tour. But the third reason, it was to do research. So we're bedding down the last pieces when it comes to hotels, restaurants, and also other brands that we will include. All that is now ready to rock and roll. So we will be announcing in the coming weeks these other pieces that are happening. Sandra and I were very busy test driving. We had a number of meetings with hotels. We were ticking boxes. We were making sure that the hotels that we're going to be staying at throughout the tour are just at an incredible level. One of the hotels that we will be staying, that we had locked in early, was Magna Paz. This is the first hotel in the world to be a perfume-themed hotel. I did some filming alongside the owners, Ambra, and her father, Roberto. Now, that video is going to be coming out shortly, so you'll get a better understanding of what this hotel is actually. That used to be an old, production. Sorry, my brain's like tuk tuk. An old perfume production factory. So it's always been part of their family. The brand is Marvin. They're perfume creators. And that used to be the Marvin factory. So they've repurposed it, and there's this beautiful, like postmodern, concrete, sort of industrial look about it, but such a cool venue. Wait till you see this video coming out and you'll see a little bit more about how the whole place looks, what the rooms look like, how they're perfumed. Each room has its own perfume scent. But I'll tell you more. But that's one of the hotels that we will be staying at in the tour. So Sandra and I were researching both Florence and Rome and making sure that it ticked the boxes when it comes to the luxury and the unique element to each of these. So if you want to know more about the 9-day luxury tour, reach out to me. There's a few spots left. So we sold it very quickly to past guests. But if you are interested, then there are some spots available. So if you want to know more, just reach out to me. But I will be sharing more in the coming weeks when it comes to events that are happening, the brands that we're working on. Wait till you see what we're up to. And also look at this, we were even test driving restaurants. Someone had to do it. In that video that I presented last week, I did it as a joke, but that was true. We were actually test driving different restaurants and making sure that it was up to par for the standard that we wanted for the tour. So it was a tough gig, but as I mentioned, someone had to do it. Boom, it was us. All right then, that's pretty much it. So that's what's been happening. The last thing, now I promise, next week I will raffle this. I've been pushing this backwards, and the MILAN promo, it's still live. There are 3 prizes to be won, and each of them will be pretty much consistent. So you're getting a full set of the MILAN Aromatics Discovery set, and then a 10 ml tester. I'll send that anywhere across the world. All you have to say is, what did I say? Put the kangaroo, I think it was. There was something else. Happy birthday. Oh, that's right. It was because it was my birthday promo. So I'll put happy birthday and the kangaroo, and I'll put you in the draw. We've had a number of people come through, but I promise, next week I will raffle. 3 lucky winners will go into the draw to win that. And then we'll do the big raffle, and then we'll do it again, which is the KAJAL Le Mans Noir. That's pretty special. So I'll tell you more about that next week. This was a funny Maté talk, I have to say, because I'm going to blame it on being jet lagged and still being a little bit rusty. But I'm going to get better. Onwards and upwards, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to your comments. I promise that I will do my best to respond, because I do enjoy that. And I'll see you guys all on the next Maté talk next week. Bye, everyone.